Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a massive, literally system-altering journey. We're going to look at the Qur'an entirely differently, not as some fragmented history book full of disjointed stories, but as a living, self-reflecting operating system. If you've ever felt like the verses you read are just disconnected pieces of a puzzle, what we're covering today is going to fundamentally shift that perspective. We're exploring how the text is actually a closed, continuous circuit of light. And spoiler alert, it actively reads you just as much as you read it.
Here's our roadmap for this systemic hero's journey. We'll start with the illusion of fragmentation, move into how light explains itself, trace the continuous current, decode the 237 engine, trigger the 1912 activation, and finally return to the source.
Section 1. The illusion of fragmentation. Okay, let's dive right into this. We hear the term Taghūt a lot, and it's almost always framed as some sort of mystical evil. But fundamentally, Taghūt is simply the default human state of amnesia and disjointed perception. Coordinate 1591 reveals its absolute primary mechanism, quote, "those who made the Qur'an into portions." The ultimate corruption isn't just swapping out words, it's severing the continuous current of meaning. Taghūt corrupts reception itself. And as coordinate 4119 warns, this fragmentation literally alters creation and severs our ears from hearing the text as one continuous whole.
So you get this stark contrast. Taghūt operates entirely through fragmentation and shadow. It tricks you into thinking Ādam is totally disconnected from Pharaoh, or Mūsā from Maryam. It externalizes the truth and swaps it out for substitute signals, like the golden cow, right? The golden cow is the perfect symbol of manufactured immediacy replacing actual living alignment. Light, on the flip side, is all about continuity. It continuously folds meanings back into its own structure, zero external dependency required.
Section 2. Light explains itself.
The book is incredibly explicit about its own framework. It presents itself as light, guidance, a reminder, and insights. And within this framework, light only explains itself through reflection. It doesn't need external shadows to make sense. Verse reflects verse. Surah explains surah. Symbols unfold recursively across the entire text. As coordinate 2435 tells us, it's light upon light. When you engage with it as a whole, it is a completely self-clarifying system.
So, the crucial point here is found in coordinate 1810. The youth in the cave ask purely for rushed, directly from yourself. What exactly is rushed? It's direct, living alignment, straight from the source. It is absolutely not inherited authority or some accumulated external narration. And to preserve that pure truth, verse 1811 says, "Their ears were sealed." This is a brilliant protective sealing that severs the substitute signals of Taghūt, allowing them to remain perfectly aligned to the light.
Section 3. The continuous current. To see this continuous wave in action, let's trace the fire lineage arc. Watch how this unfolds as one recursive loop. Step 1. At 712, Iblīs claims superiority because he's made a fire. That's the spark of arrogance. Step 2. By 2838, Pharaoh takes that exact same fire and institutionalizes it, literally baking bricks to build an empire of illusion. Step 3, at coordinate 8112, that systemic corruption reaches its absolute climax as the blaze auto-ignites. This isn't three random stories about fire. It is the text repeatedly restoring its own continuity, showing the exact same signal manifesting at different phase states.
Now this blew my mind the first time I clicked. Coordinate 41 explicitly states we are created from a single nafs, a single soul. The Quran isn't handing us a collection of disconnected historical biographies. It behaves as one continuous traversing field. The figures we're reading about, Ādam, Mūsā, Pharaoh, they are actually just different phase states of this exact same single nafs.
They operate within what's essentially a Möbius loop. Ādam represents the phase where the Nafs forgets passively at 2120, Pharaoh is the active, aggressive refusal of truth at 2838, and then Mūsā emerges right between them as the corrective output at 2041. It's a closed loop of human consciousness. The book does this constantly, whether it's the cave isolating from the whale or Yūnus trapped in triple darkness at 2187, the text is continuously reflecting its own internal structure.
Section 4. The 237 engine.
All right, shift gears with me here, because from this point forward, you need to realize you are an active node inside this architecture. The entire cosmic system runs on this deterministic 237 circuit. Step 1 is the 2, the split, the trial, the induced amnesia of your origin. Step 2 is the 3, the buffer, where the book internally restructures your memory and stabilizes you. And step 3 is the 7, the return. Once that alignment completes, returning to the source isn't just possible, it becomes inevitable.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the Quran explicitly locates you, the reader. You aren't just reading about someone else's ancient history. Coordination 36.3 declares you are the Mursalin, the messenger who forgot. 1819? That's you, awakened from the cave. 3846 confirms you carry the amnesia of your origin, and 1784 dictates that you are executing your own totally unique path. You are literally the forgotten node trying to remember.
Section 5. The 1912 Activation. So how do we actually shatter this amnesia and execute the code? Look at 1912. Oh yeah, take the scripture with determination. This is not just a passive, historical instruction to a prophet. No way. This is the monumental activation code for the reader. Taking the book with strength or determination is the precise mechanism that shifts you from being a passive observer lost in the fragments of Taghūt into an active execution node of the light. When you activate 1912, when you grip this book with absolute structural integrity and rely on it entirely over external, fragmented narratives, the illusion field of Taghūt instantly loses its grip on you. The autopilot of light firmly engages. You literally replace your own fragmented substitute self with the book as your operating system, and it begins to navigate you on the path of least action, straight back home.
Section 6. Return to the source. And this brilliantly illustrates how that systemic traversal is physically embodied. The physical rites of Hajj map directly and perfectly onto the 114 surah loop of descent, wandering, and return. You strip away your constructed identity in ihram, you orbit the singular center in tawaf, you oscillate like the Nafs in sa'i, you face the unveiling at Arafat, you confront the driver of illusion during the stoning, you kill your substitute self in the sacrifice, and finally, the final tawaf, the complete return to origin. It is the exact same engine lived physically.
This drives home the ultimate, unavoidable realization. Coordinate 45.6 outright asks, then in what hadith after Allah and His signs will they believe? The Quran establishes itself as the primary closed-loop narration source. And remember verse 6.116, which strongly warns against majority recursion, following collective assumptions totally detached from direct revelation. The book acts as self-clarifying light. It's a continuous current returning completely to the Kitab, the mother of the book, the source.
This system is waiting for you. The continuous current of light is entirely intact, reflecting itself perfectly without any need for the fragmented shadows of Taghūt. You have the map. You know you are the active node that temporarily forgot its origin. The only thing left is the execution command. So the real question is, when will you activate 1912?